Hey, good morning. Today is Monday, April the 22nd, 2024, and the time now is 7:11 a.m. It is official that last Friday, early on Friday, Israel retaliated against Iran's retaliation. So the whole thing started in terms of the tension in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, as it stands, started with Israel attack on Iran's embassy complex or consulate in Damascus, Syria. Iran basically retaliated, lobbing or throwing about 330 or so missiles and drones into Israel. Okay, and now, as I said the last time in my program, my video, I stated what both Israel and its allies, or Israel and the United States, basically claim. The United States is claiming that it shot down about half of the drones and missiles that Iran launched. And Israel is saying that it single-handedly intercepted and destroyed about 99% of the drones and missiles that Iran lobbed. So in my program, I did stated that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, basically told the prime minister of Israel, or the Israeli government, if you will, that if Israel attack or retaliate against Iran, that Israel will be doing it on its own. And I stressed last week in one of my videos that even though it seems as if the United States is saying that you are on your own, I do not think that if Israel and Iran was to go into an all-out war, that the United States will just sit it out, okay, or the entire West. No. And I stated that perhaps the statements to the Israeli is a way to fool Iran, make the Iranian feel as if the Israelis or Israel is on its own. And then once Israel and Iran are basically in an all-out war, then the United States and allies will basically come and gang up on Iran. So I am going to talk about the retaliation of Israel against Iran's retaliation. But something that I did not speak of in my last video that I wanted to stress, and the situation that is going on in the Middle East, honestly, it continues to look bad, I do believe, for Israel. And I think partly is because of Western politicians. The manner in which they speak makes them much more hypocritical. And I do believe in a world that is much sensitive today, okay? A world in which the global South is basically pointing fingers and saying, look, we are in a world of hypocrites and people and governments and countries that are saying this on the one hand, and then on the other hand, they are doing this, okay? The global South is finding it very sensitive, and I do believe there is mistrust in the global South for the West. And pertaining to what's happening in the Middle East, and also whether we are talking about Gaza or whether we are talking about the tension between Israel and Iran, the global South is looking, I do believe, at the West and even Israel in this case with mistrust. And I do believe part of it is because of the statements that are coming out of the mouth of Western governments and officials. So last week I watched an interview of the former Prime Minister, okay, British Prime Minister David Cameron, who serves right now in Sunak's government. So there was one interesting question that was asked. Well, first, David Cameron kept emphasizing the notion that Iran's attack or retaliation against Israel was disproportionate and stressed the fact that it is wrong and it is brutal for one country to attack another country in a manner as Iran did. Now, let me stress one more thing. It is very interesting how the West has downplayed Iran's attack or retaliation, however you want to term it, while at the same time calling it a failure. Okay? So they want to downplay it and also give it a title of brutality and heartless. But at the same time, they are terming it as ineffective and a failure. But David Cameron's interview, he continued to stress that the Iranian was wrong, and he continued to talk as if Iran was the one that basically attacked first and that Iran was not retaliating. But then, in terms of his notion that Iran's attack was disproportionate, he was asked by the interviewer, what if some hostile country attacked the British consulate or embassy complex? And David Cameron basically asserted that the United Kingdom will take decisive action. And the interviewer basically stressed, well, isn't it what Iran did? Isn't it the same thing that Iran did? Like what you are saying that the United Kingdom will do had the United Kingdom been attacked by an hostile country. It was very interesting watching David Cameron flip-flop and giving answers that basically, one, makes him look like nothing less than a hypocrite, or make him look like nothing less than a warmonger. And this, I do believe, makes the rest of the world, the global south, basically cringe. If we add the fact that the United States invaded Iraq, destroyed Iraq, the United States, NATO destroyed Libya, Afghanistan, you got the situation in Yemen, and all the past conflicts that the United States and NATO or European countries had involved in, and the atrocity, and now with what they are saying, what they are doing, is very much interesting. It is profound in terms of the level of perceived hypocrisy of the West that is being presented or projected. So I just want to stress this. But let me get back to Israel's retaliation against Iran's retaliation. I will give some perspective, but something very much interesting to me, which basically, when I heard of the attack or the retaliation of Israel against Iran, I began to ask myself questions. And a couple of the questions that I asked myself, I am going to read them right now, and then I will proceed further. I will continue. Questions. Number one, was this attack necessary? If so, how and why? Once again, question. Number one, was this attack necessary? If so, how and why? Number two, what was the attack's intent? And what did it achieve and why? Once again, what was the attack's intent and what did it achieve and why? Number three, is it possible that Israel's attack against Iran and on the world's central kitchen was a strategic move to lessen the pressure that the chaos of the Gaza War were putting on Israel? Honestly, it seems that Gaza's pressure decreased following the WCK and Iranian Consulate attack. The world became so focused on the possibility of World War III, and it looks like the Gaza became an after topic, similar to how Ukraine became an after topic following October 7 and the Gaza War. So these are among the questions that began to linger in my head when I found out about Israel's retaliation against Iran's retaliation. So now, in terms of the attack, I want to stress that once again, Israel has neither accept nor deny having carried out the attack on Iran. So the attack took place deep into Iran, and it was carried out on military installation where Iran's has some nuclear activity, but nothing wrong with the facility. And Isfahan is one of the cities that was attacked. But from the information that I'm getting, okay, having listened to the news media, having looked at various sources, various articles, the attack is being downplayed by both Israel and Israeli allies. And Iran on its side is saying that the attack was so insignificant in terms of the impact that it does not have to retaliate. Okay, Iran is saying that it doesn't see any reason to retaliate against Israel's retaliation against Iran's retaliation. So many around the world are talking. Governments and the UN is calling for the lesson of tension. Okay, basically they're trying to talk to both countries to watch their action so that they do not get involved into an all-out war, which in this case will engulf the entire Middle Eastern region and bring the United States and other actors into the front, the battle. So it is very interesting, but I basically do believe that Israel's retaliation was a way to save face. At the same time, do what Iran did, but to a lesser extent. So what does this mean? Israel attacked Iran's embassy or consulate. Iran retaliated, attacking bases in Israel, okay? Throwing over 300 missiles and drones at Israel. Drones and missiles which were intercepted by Israel and its allies. Basically, a cooperation, okay, of nation, collaboration of nation. They all ganged up and basically intercept those weapons. Now, what Iran demonstrated by attacking Israel back was that it has capability. And that was to an extent humiliating for Israel. And I do think one of the reasons why Israel decided to go about retaliating was a way to tell Iran, well, you got capability, we do have capability as well. But I do believe Israel was trying to show its capability, but not attack to a point where it could create massive damage, which will then provoke Iran's retaliation again, and which in this case could win Israel more condemnation. Because from the get-go, Israel was being criticized for having carried out the attack on Iran's consulate. The same Israel that is being criticized for the situation in Gaza, for the situation with the World Central Kitchen. So recently, Israel is getting a lot of blame, a lot of criticism. But I think what Israel did by retaliating against Iran's retaliation was a way to save face. a way to say we are not afraid of you, Iran. We can strike you back. But carrying out an attack or a level of attack that doesn't result into a significant impact on Iran that would provoke retaliation again. And doing this at least at a time when, quote unquote, the United States has told Israel, if you attack, you are on your own. And I also do believe the attack is a way for Israel to at least show or to present some kind of case that they are not controlled by the United States or that they are a sovereign power, that their willingness to attack or their willingness to defend themselves is based on their experience, not based on the dictates of another country. Because there are many who, since the situation started in Gaza, okay, a result of October 7th, and since Israel's attack on Iran's consulate, there are many around the world and many experts who have been speaking, okay, many writers who are saying that Israel is being enabled by the United States. Okay, the whole sentiment that the United States is Israel's enabler. So I do believe to an extent this attack could be an attempt by Israel to show to the world that we are not enabled. We do what we do because we can or because we want to, because it is an attempt to protect and defend ourselves. Now, many may disagree with that logic, but at least that's a perspective that I have. But the attack itself, I do think it was senseless, because if you're going to carry out such an attack, just go all out. First of all, you started by attacking the country's consulate. And then the country retaliate. And then you then go about retaliating again and attacking them within the immediate, the actual soil of the country. But honestly, I don't know what to say in terms of what the attack achieved, because I am not in the Israeli war cabinet. I'm just presenting a perspective, an opinion here, a speculation here. But it is very good that Iran has now retaliated again. But it's very interesting. Like last week when I was doing that program about Iran's retaliation, some of the sources that I was looking through, there are sentiments being expressed about the Israeli defense ministers, a minister saying that Israel will attack, though Israel's attack will be at Israel's discretion, okay? When Israel wants to and when Israel feel like it has to attack, or she has to attack, if you will, however you want to say it. So to an extent, we could say that the attack on Friday, early Friday, was Israel's way to basically show the world or to tell the world what the Israeli defense minister was saying. The whole idea that Israel will attack or retaliate against Iran, but Israel is going to do it when it feel like it has to do it. But there are many now who are asking and posing the idea that Iran could retaliate again, and if Iran do, it could lead to more escalation. And there are others who are saying that this attack earlier on Friday is not the end of it, and that Israel could be carrying out more attack against Iran. But I do believe if Israel carry out such attack, okay, a continuous attack against Iran, then this will be, or it will demonstrate to the world, whether Israel intent or not, that something is not right, okay, with the leadership, the decision that they are making. And I do believe the Israeli system, they really much need to sit down and try to recalculate how to go about trying to lessen, trying to decrease the tension that they are in as of now. Because the Gaza issue has not been settled yet. Okay? There are many who are predicting more fighting in Gaza, invasion, and all that sort of stuff. And others are echoing the World Central Kitchen incidents. Others are echoing the idea that about 34 to 35,000 people have died in Gaza. Others are talking about the scale of Israeli action in Gaza. So there are a whole lot of things that is being spewed out there. Okay, Israel is being criticized in many ways, especially by countries in the global South. In terms of the Western world, okay, they are very much in support of Israel. But in terms of the rest of the world, Israel is being criticized strongly. So I do believe what they have to do is try to recalculate to see how the situation is abated, the situation is solved, okay, or the tension is decreased as soon as possible. Because even the United States right now is going through a very strong tension. We have election coming in the United States, an election which I do believe Joe Biden is going to lose. Okay, with the situation in Israel and many supporters, Democratic supporters, many of whom are minority, many of whom who whether they're against Joe Biden because of what's happening in Ukraine or because of what's happening in Gaza or because of the economy or because they say he is old, he's shivering when he's walk, he's falling, all kinds of reason out there. It seems as if the Democratic Party, the Democratic vote for the election in November 24 is split. So right now, I will dare assert that the Republican vote is intact. Okay, the Republicans are going to vote their man. Okay, if Trump is the nominee, but the Democrats, they are divided. So looking at the division in terms of the Democrats' votes, it's easy to predict that or to assert that Joe Biden is going to lose in November. But yeah, so I just want to stress that. But once again, the situation in the Middle East, okay, talking here about Israel's retaliation against Iran. When I reflect, it seems like the situation in Gaza is not being expressed or talked about in the manner in which people talked about it prior to Israel's attack of Iran's consulate and also prior to the World Central Kitchen's incident. So that basically left me to think, was this attack on Iran's consulate, as controversial as it is or as it was, and the attack on the World Central Kitchen, which I think I remember did kill about 7 people or so, staff member. Was it a mistake? Now, we know that the attack on the consulate was not a mistake. It was a military decision. We have people together who are our enemies. Let's take them out. We don't care what's going to happen. Yes, the world is going to bombard us with criticism, which the world is doing anyway. But then the World Central Kitchen incident, was it a mistake or was it actually an intent? And if so, it is very interesting because the whole situation, both incidents, the embassy or consulate incident in Damascus, Syria, and the World Central Kitchen's incident, it appears to me as if it was a calculated effort to do something very controversial that would lead to the decrease of criticism about the situation in Gaza. I am not trying to be provocative or controversial. These are just thoughts that and questions that lingered in my mind, things that I've been thinking about for the past 2 or 3 days. Now, in terms of Israel's retaliation against Iran's retaliation, it doesn't seem as if the situation is going to spiral into an all-out war. Yes, there are those who were basically preaching to the point where it seems as if they were actually praying to God that Israel's retaliation surpass what Iran did so that we can get into an all-out war. And these people basically they downplayed Iran's retaliation and they basically term it a failure, and that the United States and Israel's and allies interception of Iran's missiles and drones being successful campaign. And they spoke not as if they were happy that Israel is able to, or that Israel and its allies were able to defend Israel. They spoke as if they wanted Israel to go all out. They spoke as if they basically got Iran where they want Iran, and that there is an opportunity to start an all-out war. And this should have make the possibility of an all-out war much more prominent, okay, to bring it into a realization. But it hasn't happened, and it looks like it will not happen. So for that, it seems as if the entire world has dodged a very dangerous bullet, okay, or many dangerous bullets, because the possibility of Israel and Iran going into an all-out war could draw the United States and NATO and Russia, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, North Korea, and the rest of the world. Yes, the global South doesn't want to get involved in the situation that is going on in the Middle East or in a war. But because of the weakness of the global South and the fact that the global South does have the majority of the world's raw materials, which the warring parties will need to basically keep their war machine going, and also which the warring parties will need to rebuild themselves after the war. The possibility that the global South will be forced to get involved is something that we have to accept. But the good thing is that we all should be happy that the tension between Israel and Iran, though the tension is still with us, that it hasn't resulted in an all-out war. Of course, there are predictions out there that the situation between Iran and Israel will continue to spiral and could finally lead to an all-out direct war between Israel and Iran. But for now, we are lucky, okay? The planet is moving well. People are doing fine. We do not want war. We need food. We need jobs, okay? We need medicine. We need electricity. We need affordable education. We need pure, clean drinking water. We need sustainable technologies. We need to regrow our forest. We need to clean the ocean, clean the rivers and lakes. We need to keep ourselves, our children, and our family, our people safe. As countries, we need to feed all of our people. We need to make complete peace in our individual countries and around the world. And we need to set the stage for a prosperous world, a prosperous future. I am going to end here. Once again, for the many times, thank you very much for watching The Echoing Voice. Peace.